Welcome to Forum, the Religious Investors Forum. And this is like a breaking news for us because we've been off air for quite some time. So, this conversation is going to be about the ongoing visit of the U.S., of the American President Donald Trump, to the Middle East. I want to talk specifically about his first port of call, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, with a view to drawing lessons or drawing ideas for investment ideas from the trip. I'm going to be focusing in this conversation more about the investment opportunities that could come with this visit for average investors like us. So I will touch a little bit upon history and memory and about a little bit of politics and econometrics. But the objective is to help us identify investment opportunities from this event. So let's dive into it. And of course, I plan to close with a scriptural reflection. From a historical point of view, I'm not going to take you into too far-flung historical period. I'm going to limit my historical analysis to the last maybe quarter century, about 20, 25, 30 years ago. So let's pinpoint events in our recent history that help us ground us in this conversation. In the year 1994, I was in Saudi Arabia, and I witnessed the visit of the then President of the United States of America, who was then President Bill Clinton. I witnessed his arrival on TV, his arrival in Dammam, in the eastern part of the country, where a majority of American economic infrastructures in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia are located, because that's the home of the Saudi Aramco, and there are possibly a lot more in that area that reflect a convergence of Americans in that area more than anywhere else, or similar to their convergence in the capital city area in Riyadh. So if the President of the United States of America arrived through that, what you might call a back door, it's for a reason. But the real lesson here is that this relationship between the United States of America that have taken the defense, a defense dimension and an economic dimension, has been going on for quite some time. And every American president, whether is a Republican or a Democrat, they have in one way or another tried to cement this relationship. So I'm going to quickly jump into trying to reflect and taking a flashback into the economic interactions of these two countries at that time. For example, as a student, though a graduate student, we had a little bit of stipend, and we do go and shop for items of necessity, of luxury for us. And so when we went to, for example, into the central market in Riyadh, say I want to buy a suitcase, what are the kind of things that we were buying? I can categorize it or classify it into, um, what you might call convenience stuff, like travel-related gears, like suitcases, gift items, and so on. That's one category. Another category will be electronics. At that time, there wasn't a lot of Facebook or a lot of Netflix, so we will be buying VHS, DVD players, and CD players and stuff like that. But the lesson that I'm trying to call attention to here was that there were a lot of manufactured goods from America in the market, in Riyadh market at that time. So the salesperson will tell us this suitcase is a US made, and this is the price, and this is a Japanese made, and this is a Korean made. I'm not sure whether they confuse Korea or they were using Korea for all of the manufacturing countries in that region, including other than Japan. There wasn't a lot of Chinese made good. I'm not saying that they weren't. So, and the price will vary because the qualities are supposed or the qualities are thought to vary too. And so the highest qualities will be American-made goods. And I remember buying a suitcase that I still keep up till now. It's almost like over 25 years old, and it's still good and solid, except that with the wears and tears of time. So at this time when we are talking about reviving our manufacturing capacities, this type of relationship can be the market that can provide markets for us if we are able to get back on track with manufacturing. I'm going to move quickly to other types of goods and products. So look, from the technological point of view, those years in the late 90s all the way to the first and second decade of the 21st century, these were the days of Apple and Microsoft. And so when we look around us at the college or the university, we see a whole lot of computers, and the majority of them, and they're mostly Microsoft or Apple. Regardless of whether these computers were wholly made from America or partly made or assembled or whatever by other countries, there wasn't any other country that could compete with America, with Microsoft or Apple at that time. And I assume that the majority of the manufacturing and the assemblage and everything might have been coming from America, although with some few exceptions. That's also, again, not the case anymore, because the majority of those things, even in America now, the majority of the computers and laptops and electronics that we buy at Best Buy, at Walmart, at Target, at any of those electronic stores, they are no longer made or assembled in America. And that's an indication is a sign of the deterioration that has happened to us in that respect. And thirdly, let's look also at the advanced technology of military technology. These countries in the Middle East, it's very obvious that what goes along with providing them with security is also our ability to sell sophisticated military equipment and at a very good price. So even though I'm not a military expert to be able to say how much fighter jets and so on and so forth and armors and tanks and so on, whatever. But what I do know is that the United States of America controls this department of their life, and it's like nobody else competes with America in supplying them with this. I'm not talking about wars being fought or peace being made. I'm talking about products that we are able to sell, make money from, that our companies rely upon for getting to where they are now. So all of those of our leading companies in the defense sector, like Lockheed Martin, like Boeing, and of course, like one of the companies that I really like, General Dynamics, and LH Harris, and so on and so forth, or the Raytheon, and all of these people that make missiles and all those things. They all rely for marketing their products on countries like these, because these are the people that have the money to pay for those products. Finally, let me conclude with I don't want to call it the elephant in the room, but the most important aspect of our economic relationship with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which will be oil. And again, like I said, that the president at that time arrived in that area where Aramco, the Saudi oil company that used to be, that represents the highest partnership between America and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and infrastructure that enabled these two countries to influence the oil market for quite over half a century or more. We've made a lot of money, and they too have made a lot of money. And I remember reading a book about this that describes the relationship as عروق بعضهم تجري في دماء بعضهم تجري في عروق بعضهم البعض منهم. Hey, let me not convert this into Arabic conversation. So what this author is saying is that this relationship has led to more than what is called joining at the hip, but it has become a relationship that allows the blood of one of them to run in the veins of the other economically. That's what I wanted to say with respect to the background to the investment opportunities in this event. So let me go to the current situation now. When our president arrived there, he arrived there with an entourage that is composed mainly of our tech executives or the CEOs of the best of our companies. If I understand it correctly, all of the CEO of our Magnificent Seven, the majority of them were accompanying the president. Tim Cook was there. Probably, I think Zuckerberg of Meta was there. The CEO of BlackRock was there. Tesla CEO Elon Musk was there with the president. What is the message what is the economic or investment message that this sends to us, ordinary people? Is that the billion dollars that our president is fond of touting and talking about, they're going to pour, that's going to pour into our pockets, into our treasury from this relationship, is going to go into those companies. We do know that the S&P 500 is sitting on, you might not believe it, hundreds of trillions. NASDAQ is sitting on maybe, I'm just going to use a rough figure, about 20, 30 trillion. The Dow Jones and so on and so forth. So the companies that make the most money, the $1 trillion companies, and of course the leader of the king of the artificial intelligence, which is NVIDIA, is also represented there by its CEO. And I heard the president saying, "Where are you, Jensen?" So the message they are sending to us is that America is back in the market to sell more defense equipment, more advanced, more sophisticated. And I even heard the president say, "We make missiles, we make this, we even make things that nobody knows about." So the first investment opportunities that's coming for us is that we can consider companies like Raytheon, companies that make missiles. And this company has been under pressure, not only economically, but because there's production is the demand is outpacing production because of our involvement in the Ukrainian war and other type of wars, and also because all these people are stockpiling these materials. So I think I really want to move a little faster. So our defense companies like Raytheon, like General Dynamics, like Boeing, like LMT, which is your favorite company for our Congress people. All these companies are perhaps the safest and the most likely to make us money at this time. Of course, I'm not qualified to even recommend anything for you. I'm just thinking with you about investment opportunities. So you have to do your due diligence before you put your money on any of those things. So let's go back into other types of investment opportunities, especially the ones that I considered the safest for religious investors. Investment in technology. So the artificial intelligence is the game in the town, is the new game in town now, and is something that I intend to do a special video about, because what artificial intelligence is about is something bigger than the invention of computer. Is the totality of Apple, Microsoft, Meta, and all of these things times 10. And it is a new invention and a revolutionary invention that is going to be forced upon us, not by, imposed upon us, that we're going to be forced to adopt and buy, similar to how computer entered into our life. When it entered, not all of us can afford it, or not all of us think that it is necessary. It's a necessity, but gradually it become a household equipment. And see how many computers you have. I'm using one now in the form of this my iPhone device. So the technology area, investing in companies that deal with the development of artificial intelligence, especially the leading ones like NVIDIA or like MAD, or like my favorite one, which is not doing very good now, which is INTC. What's it called? That's the ticker symbol. or the IBM that's making a very big comeback. And so, like I said again, the Magnificent Seven, Apple, Microsoft, Netflix, Meta, and so on, Tesla or whatever. So the reason why I'm emphasizing this is that I do know that these companies had made billions or billions of dollars in the past, and they are not likely to make that much in the future. But that assumption can be challenged because they are the ones that are actually funding the new revolution, and they are the ones that are actually going to deliver this thing in real terms. And so it is not impossible that even though Apple has reached 3 trillion plus, it could actually double within the next 1 decade or two. Similar thing could happen for Microsoft, Tesla, and some of these other companies. So, and as somebody who has experienced investing in little companies, startups, and I've seen the danger or the problem that could arise from that for beginning investors, because these companies are not strong enough to weather the turbulence that is happening in the market. There's going to be a lot of turbulence in the market, no doubt, whether we have recession in the traditional way or not. But a few of these companies will emerge as victoriously, but the ones that are likely to be unshaken and to actually weather the time and actually preserve your money, protect your money, and probably double or triple your money for you in an almost unbelievable way. They are these behemoths, they are these well-established companies. I still have a lot more to say about that, but I don't want this video to be too long. So let us join in this. Let us look at this from the perspective of from investors' perspective. We're not concerned much about the politics behind all these things, and whether it's local politics or international politics. But we are concerned about two things. Are there investment opportunities in this thing for us? And are these investments the one that we consider safe for the religious investors community? So I'm going to take you back to a quick reflection about the scripture. I'm going to take this from the Quran chapter 106, where God the Almighty says, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim." In the name of God, the beneficent, the merciful, for the favor and the grace that we have done to the Quraysh, let them, by keeping them secure in their economic, in their commercial journeys during the summer to Syria and during the winter to Yemen. By this grace that we have granted them to protect their caravans and protect them in their homeland, so that they can conduct their economic activities peacefully. Let them worship the Lord of this Abrahamic house, the Kaaba, and desist from worshiping false idols. For in fact, God has given them security, or guarantees their security against hunger and their security against violence or war. So these two things are the best guarantees that individuals and nations are seeking: to have your provision come easily, guaranteed, and to have your safety undisturbed or unruffled and guaranteed and preserved. This is what individuals and nations are seeking. And God says that He has guaranteed this for the people of Mecca, for the Quraysh, and this continues to be real and true for them and for the countries and for the nations of people that developed, for the country that developed around this sacred house. So the lesson that we're trying to learn from this is that economic activity is often become economic pursuit take too much of our attention, and it's by necessity, and also our security. And we are all individually and collectively seeking to get some safety, some guarantee, the provision of this in an easy way. So I want to conclude that let's learn from this scriptural message and seek the protection of our provision and this protection of our well-being from God the Almighty. And let us follow that up with lawful and ethical pursuit. And this is the way. This is the way in the Abrahamic faith. This is the way in the normal human world. And may God bless us. Thank you. Bye-bye.